14-year-old Landon DuPont of Calgary is expected to receive exceptional status.
Now, he'd just be the second player ever in the West to be given exceptional status following Connor Bedard.
He's not just good, he's dominating, and he's 14 years old. It's unbelievable.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Alt Hotel University District here in Calgary. My name is Taylor Roca. I'm the Director of Communications for the Western Hockey League, and it's my distinct pleasure to be here today on what is a historic day for the Western Hockey League. Joining us here at the front table, starting immediately to my right, we have Hockey Canada Senior Vice President of High Performance and Hockey Operations, Scott Salmond. We have WHL Commissioner Dan Neer to his right. Front and center, Landon DuPont. To Landon's right, we have his father, Mickey DuPont. And to Mickey's right, we have Landon's mother, Erin DuPont. Now, before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items for everyone here. We'll begin with opening remarks, and following that, we'll open up to a question and answer period, followed by a photo opportunity in front of the table once the Q&A wraps up. Now, during the Q&A period, all 5 individuals seated here at the table will be available for questions. So for members of the media in attendance here, as well as on Zoom, I would ask you to please raise your hand when you have a question. You'll be provided with a wireless microphone that is roaming in the room here. I'll ask you to please clearly state your name, the outlet you represent, and who your question is intended for. You'll be permitted 1 question and a follow-up each time. So for those folks joining us on Zoom, I'll also ask you to just use the raise a hand function, and you'll be called upon when it's your turn to ask a question. With that said, it's my pleasure to turn it over to WHL Commissioner Dan Neer.
Thanks, Taylor. And thanks to everyone in attendance today. It's a special day. Thanks to Catherine Henderson, to Pat McLaughlin, and to Scott Salmond at Hockey Canada, to Rob Litwinski and Mike Krejci, who's in the room today from Hockey Alberta, and of course to our esteemed guests, to the DuPont family, Landon, Mickey, Aaron, and Nolan in the crowd today. It's truly a historic moment. Since the WHL's inception in 1966, only one time has our league had the opportunity or the occasion to celebrate this unique honor, this impressive designation, this exceptional recognition. And that was a guy by the name of Connor Bedard. When Hockey Canada and Hockey Alberta's special committee confirmed their decision on Landon DuPont's application, last week I was given an opportunity to read the decision memo. It describes an exceptional player as one that's uncommon, distinguished, remarkable, exclusive, and who is so outstanding, not only on the ice, but as a person, that he deserves the rare privilege of participating in the Western Hockey League at an early age, and whose development is more likely to be enhanced significantly by playing in the WHL as a 15-year-old than by participating in his designated age division. I don't know about you, I don't think when I was 14 anyone was saying anything like that about me. The Western Hockey League is proud to be the best development league in the world. Annually, we continue to develop the most NHL-bound talent while also developing hundreds of young men pursuing post-secondary education. This year alone, more than 350 WHL alumni are attending post-secondary institutions paid for by the Western League and our member clubs for a total of over $3 million this year alone. Well, I'm sure most of your questions for Landon will be about his aspirations to play in the National Hockey League. Here are some of my aspirations for Landon over the next few years. For him to continue his hockey development in the best possible environment, with the best coaches, the best facilities, the best playing condition to prepare him for what's next. For him to make new friends, to enjoy everything involved with his high school experience and his studies, and to continue to operate with the solid moral character and attitude that's gotten to you this moment. We had an opportunity to host the DuPonts on Friday at the WHL offices, and clearly the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. To say all of us were impressed would be a massive understatement. To Aaron and to Mickey, as a parent myself, congratulations on raising a fine young man. Not just a great hockey player, but one of tremendous character and value. It gives me great pride today, on behalf of Hockey Canada, Hockey Alberta, and the Western Hockey League, to announce that Landon DuPont has been granted exceptional player status and will be eligible to play the 24-25 season in the Western Hockey League. Landon, welcome to the Dub. With that, I'd like to introduce Hockey Canada's Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations, Scott Salmon.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the invite to be here today. And just want to take the opportunity to first acknowledge the work of the committee, as you had mentioned. It's a difficult job. It's a job that takes a lot of things into consideration. I think they did an exceptional job for us in this case as well. I also want to acknowledge the relationship and the partnership with Hockey Canada and the Western Hockey League. As the premier development league, Canadian Hockey League in the world, and as the #1 feeder system to not only our players, but coaches, that partnership is world-class and continues this day to be extremely strong. So Dan, thank you for the invite today. To Landon, to you and your family, congratulations. It's a tremendous honor to receive exceptional player status. And from Hockey Canada's perspective, I want to be very clear. The term exceptional is not reserved just for a player. The term exceptional is reserved equally as important and maybe more importantly for the person. And so certainly when you watch Landon play, you're drawn to his skill, his skating, his talent, his edge work, his vision on the ice. But when you have an opportunity to meet him and to talk to him, to get to know him a little bit, you also understand the idea of exceptional character, exceptional integrity, exceptional maturity, which for a 14-year-old young man and for a 15-year-old next year to play in the league with 20-year-olds is incumbent. It's the most important thing. And so congratulations as a person and as a player. The other thing that I think is very important to recognize is exceptional doesn't happen alone and it doesn't happen by accident. And so I had the great fortune in my career of seeing all the 9 players that have been exceptional across Canada. I've also had the great fortune to work with Mickey as a player and as a coach. And so I understand the apple doesn't far fall from the tree. I also have a relationship and had an opportunity to play with both of his agents, Kevin Up and Jarrett Bouquet, who's here as well today. I know the type of character that those men have. I also know the school that he's gone to in the last couple of years at the Edge, and my son went there, and the character and how important that is at that school. But also the minor hockey associations, the coaches, the skills coaches, the teachers, all the people who have played such an important role in Landon not only becoming an exceptional player, but more importantly, an exceptional person, I think is a real acknowledgement of the Canadian development model and the type of people that we have in this country and the type of players and people that we're developing. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Scott. It is now my pleasure to invite Landon DuPont, the first defenseman in WHL history to be granted exceptional status, to share his opening remarks.
It is an honor for me to receive exceptional player status from Hockey Canada and Hockey Alberta. I'm extremely humbled to have received this. I would like to thank my family, all of my coaches, trainers, advisors, and teachers, and most of all, my teammates through my entire hockey journey for helping me to get to this point. I'm excited to continue my development in the WHL and will work hard every day to continue to improve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Landon. Okay, so that concludes our opening remarks. We'll now open it up to question and answer period. We'll start here in the room. Eric Francis.
Eric Francis with Sportsnet. Scott, I just have a question in terms of what the committee was looking at and concerns about allowing a young man to play with much bigger men, older men. Is maturity one of the most important criteria that you're looking at? Is it his skill? I'm assuming it's a combination, but can you just speak to all that?
Yeah, well, I think it's 2 parts, Eric. I think first of all, it's the hockey piece is the first piece. I mean, if you're an exceptional player, now we can take the next step and let's find out the character of the young man and the maturity of the young man. And so that's an in-depth process. You could ask Landon a little bit more about that. But it's a process that we take very seriously and we put in the care of some very qualified individuals. And in this case, someone who's been around our high-performance programs, been around national teams, and knows what character and maturity looks like. And so when that report came back, of which Dan referenced, it was unquestionable, the type of maturity that this young man had and type of character. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously. I think there's a number of young men that have exceptional skill in this country, But again, like I said, it's the other piece that I think is even more important. And I think Dan would agree with me. The owners, operators, coaches, and managers don't want to put people in a position where they can't be successful on or off the ice. And so there's no question with Landon.
Just a follow-up for Landon, what do you anticipate being the biggest challenge for you to take this next giant step?
Obviously, I think there's going to be challenges along the way, but I think I have a good support system around me, being my, coaches, family, advisors, everyone helping me along the way. They're just going to help me through everything, and I don't think that there's nothing that I can't handle.
Saul?
Hey, just a question for Scott Salmon again. Just how do you go about evaluating the maturity or the off-ice readiness? This will come with a lot of hype and whatnot. How do you go about evaluating those off-ice characteristics in these decisions?
Yeah, without getting too far into the process itself, it's not just a one-person job. There's almost a background and reference check, and speaking to people around Landon, which includes people at school and other parts of the community, and getting perspective from them. There is a written component to that happens in front of someone who evaluates. So Landon does that on his own under a little bit of pressure. And then there's obviously a significant interview. But it's not a one-time meeting conversation on the phone. It's much deeper than that, because as I mentioned, it's critically important to ensure that we're putting players and people in a position where they can be successful.
And just a quick follow-up on that, Scott. I imagine you get a lot of these applicants from players across the country for this exceptional status. What's the danger of putting of granting that to someone that's not ready? How do you balance that?
Well, I think there's a great danger of that. I think there's a great danger of putting young men into a position with older athletes that they're not prepared for. And so, when you look over the history of the players and the people who've been, granted exceptional player status, I think it speaks to them as people and character. And it's interesting for me, having been through all nine, to see the type of men that they've turned into, which is representative of the type of young men that they were. And so I think we've been successful in that. You don't always get it right from a hockey side, but it's probably more important to get it right from a maturity side.
Julian?
Hi, Julian McKenzie from The Athletic. My first question is for Landon. How does it feel to be able to have this status and to be able to celebrate this with your family and be around the WHL commissioner and Scott Salmon?
Yeah, it's great. It's very humbling, and I'm very honored to have been granted this, but I still have so much hard work and so much room to fill, and it's just one of the steps to the next level. So I'm really excited to get things going and keep working my hardest and see where it takes me.
And my follow-up is for Scott. When it comes to determining which player is deserving of exceptional status, how does that process differ when it comes to evaluating a forward versus a defenseman, and why was Landon able to get that status?
Well, I'm not sure it's necessarily different. I think that you're evaluating by position. It would be similar if it was a goaltender who had applied. So, you're looking at someone who has excelled beyond his peers. I think that the really important part of the definition of exceptional, in our case and in this case, is the development piece. And so the really important part from a skill development is the belief that a player is so exceptional that without being granted the opportunity to play at a higher level, it'll be a detriment to their development. And that's really important to understand and to recognize. And so in this case, it can be a forward, it can be a defenseman, it could be a goaltender. If they're at the level where playing with their peers another year would be detrimental, then I don't think that's doing a service to the player or to the system. And so that's, ultimately the decision that's made.
Thanks, Julian.
Todd Salop, Calgary Sun, Calgary Herald. This question is for Landon and maybe mom and dad as well. What were the decision made? How did the process go with deciding the WHL rather than going down south to the NCAA?
Yeah, it was a long process for sure. Like me and my parents, we looked at both routes, and both routes are good, but I think that the WHL was the best route for me in my development, and I think that it'll help me just develop my game as a player each and every day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you know, Landon being a strong player at this age, he and us agree that he just wants to keep developing, and that should be the goal. And yeah, we're grateful that this opportunity came, and he can do that next year in the WHL.
As well, Landon, what is the decisions that were made in the past to go to Edge? How much did that program help you get to where you are today?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Just every day you just go and you're excited to play hockey, and even the school side too. Like the teachers are all really dedicated to making you better people and helping you get your grades up. So it's been awesome. It's been lots of fun, but it's also been good for my development and bettering me as a person.
Sure. Sam Logic for TSN. Landon, can you talk about the off-ice stuff? Scott mentioned an essay, a little like how that unfolded for you. I imagine it's a little bit stressful, but can you speak about the off-ice process that went into this whole journey for you?
Yeah, I just tried to not think about it. I tried to just worry about my season and have fun on the ice with my teammates, and you know, just having fun and trying to win each and every game was just the main goal for me. And I just tried to ignore all the other stuff, and I had a great support system around me. Like my parents and all my supporters and agents were just really helpful with just worrying about my season. And once the season ended, we obviously took another step into it, but during the season it was just all put aside. So yeah.
Okay, sorry, one more for Dan. You had this situation a couple of years ago with Connor, and the hype was pretty profound with sold out buildings and whatnot. What did you learn from that, from Connor, that you can apply to Landon, and how do you control that? Because these are young men that have this pressure on their shoulders.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time talking about that and what the player experience is like when they go on the road, what the player experience is like going to school. And, you know, this journey in the Western Hockey League, it's not just a quick stint. We expect Landon will be with us for a number of years. And so what I can tell you is the Regina Pats are counseling us and giving us a lot of feedback on some of what that experience was like, how it ramped up at certain moments. Certainly when Connor came back from the World Junior Championships, it took things to another level. And I think that we're very, very mindful of trying to create an environment that is not overwhelming or disruptive to Landon's life as a young man, as a teenager, as a high school student. Inevitably, there'll be some challenges in that, and he'll have to deal with the adversity and the highs and the lows of winning and losing and pressure in media and so on and so forth. But I can tell you, we saw a video this morning that Connor sent to Landon, and I expect that those two will become friends as they begin to share experiences and learn from one another. And I expect his parents and Landon's parents will also want to develop a relationship, because really there's no better example than the one you cited. And Connor Bedard did it with such grace and so successfully, and we can all see what he's doing now.
Yeah, Jordan Cannigan with CTV News. For the parents, actually, I'm wondering, this is, I imagine, would be pretty exciting for you guys, but maybe there's some trepidation as well to have your teenager play against grown men. What does the last several weeks look like for you two, and what will the next several years look like for you two in ensuring he's developing not just on the ice, but off the ice as well?
Oh, the last few weeks have been a bit of a whirlwind. Number one was focusing on Landon finishing the season, and then we dealt with a lot of this part regarding the exceptional status application and stuff once his season was finished. So it has been condensed into the last kind of month of really amping up to this point we're at today. Number one is just making sure he has fun, and he's still a kid, so that's really our focus. And I think as it plays out, time will tell what that looks like. I know 100% we're going to be visiting as much as possible wherever he ends up, and that, you know, we are a tight-knit family, and that will continue to be. I don't know exactly what the living situation is going to be like at this point. There's still time to figure that all out. But number one is just making sure we're always supporting him and that he has fun and continues to love hockey. That's number one.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we understand, I think everybody understands, like, a hockey season for everybody has highs and lows, right? And Landon's going to have highs and lows, but like he mentioned, I think he has a good support system. Parents, his older brother, really good friends. You know, lots of people that he can lean on and ask for help if he needs, and we'll be there for him.
Julie, just got another set of questions for Landon. Who are some hockey players you like watching, and even modeling your game after?
Yeah, I like to model my game after Rasmus Dahlin and Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes because they're just so mobile out there, and their edge work's just something that's out of this world, and just watching them super fun because they're great two-way defensemen, and they're just great role models for me.
And Dan mentioned you got a video from Connor Bedard. Are you willing to share what he might have shared with you in terms of advice? Or
Yeah, he was just I don't know. I almost blacked out. It was just he's been such a role model for me and so many other players out there, and he's really grown the game of hockey, and just watching him every day is just crazy to see what he's done and what he keeps doing is just, it's unreal.
Any advice?
Yeah, he just told me to keep having fun, keep being a kid, and that's what it's all about, so yeah.
Okay, if we, oh, yeah,
Dave
right.
Will, CBC. To the parents again, Landon mentioned Cale Makar. This is an entirely different route, edge over quadrant, for example, dub over the NCAA or junior A and then NCAA. Can you talk about the thought process that went into the decision that you landed on?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, I mean, we did our homework along with Landon. We tried to talk to him lots about it, the different routes. But like I said, I just feel we came to the conclusion that at his point in his development, to be pushed and playing against the players that would push him, that this was the right path for him. And that was, yeah, that's kind of that.
And I'm curious as well about the CSSHL over quadrant hockey. That choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big debate. I mean, we could sit here and debate it with whoever you're talking to, but like Landon mentioned with the schooling, that was a big part of it too. Like we like the schedule there. They go to school, they do class, practice, lunch, back to class, off-ice training sometimes after school. So it's nice from a family standpoint too. The kids are home at 4:30, let's say 5 o'clock, and you have the whole evening to spend together. And I think now, the last, 5-6 years, you've seen a lot of the top players go that direction to the CSSHL. Again, I'm not here selling the CSSHL, but it was a good path for Landon. But again, not everybody's the same.
And if I could ask one more, I'm curious about the transition from Ice Bear Junior to the Edge. That had to be a jump in itself, or is the quality over there in minor hockey high?
It's a big change for sure. Like over there, we used to have around 60 players on the ice at once, so it was a lot of stationary stuff, but I thought it really grew my game because all the coaches there were pretty good, and it was all about puck skill and more of that stuff. Like they play cross ice instead of full ice up until Bantam, which I like because I felt like it grew my game because obviously you're in a smaller area and you got to make quicker decisions, and so I really liked that part, but it was obviously a big change, but I really had fun over there.
Mickey, what, if anything, can you give him advice was from what you went through to get to the NHL, or is that a completely different ballgame?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, completely different. I wasn't the player Landon is now, so it's kind of a complete different path. Same path, WHL, but a different path. And I was never this good, I don't think.
Okay, if we don't have anybody else in the room, I've got a handful of folks on Zoom looking to ask some questions. We'll start with Nathan in Prince Albert. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. This question is for Dan Meir. When Connor Bedard was in the Western Hockey League, due to the pandemic and other factors, he never got an opportunity to to play in every WHL market, assuming there's no world-changing events between now and then. It looks like Landon will get the opportunity to play in every WHL market, regardless of which team he ends up with in the upcoming prospects draft. Just talk about how important that is for the league, for every market in the league to have the potential to watch Landon up close and personal during his time in the league.
Sure, thanks for the question. I think one of the things that we're fiercely proud of, but it is also potentially a weakness, is how locally centric we are as a league, and we care so much about what's going on with the team in our market. And I don't want anyone to ever surrender that, but I think it's just a massive opportunity for us to be excited about the quality of talent, the quality of rivalries, and things that are going on beyond my home market. So, if I live in Calgary and I'm rooting for the Hitman, I also want that fan to be very, very intrigued and interested in what's going on around the division, around the league, who are the players who are up and coming, because that's what makes the league interesting. And we as a league need to do a better job at purveying that content, at giving the fans and the audience a chance to see it. So we'll be spending a lot of time talking about how we make sure that fans across the league, Canada, US, even worldwide, have a chance to see Landon play.
Nathan, did you have a follow-up?
I have no follow-up. Thank you for taking my question.
Thanks, Nathan. We'll go to Andrew Ewanchuk. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. This is for Dan Neer. With a lot of high-end players like Macklin Celebrini going the NCAA route, what does it mean for you in your incoming season to be able to get Landon to commit to the WHL?
Thanks for the question. We've got a long-standing history of developing great players, developing NHL-bound players. If you look at the central scouting list, if you look at the number of players on opening night rosters, the Western Hockey League is continually ranked number one of any league. Obviously, players have a choice, families have a choice, and there's good choices out there. But I think we're pleased that kind of player development, player experience, the preparation for NHL careers, and then the educational environment is a really nice combination of aspects that will draw the best players to our league more often than not, and we're pleased that Landon made the choice to join us.
My follow-up
Andrew,
question.
Any follow-up?
Sorry. My follow-up question would be, again, to Dan Neer, just about if you look at the OHL, Michael Misa ended up getting to host the Memorial Cup in addition to being the exceptional status player. Do you think that kind of thing could happen in the WHL with the market that gets Dupont getting a bonus for the thing?
There's no plans currently to link exceptional player status or draft picks to Memorial Cup bids, but as you know, it's coming back to the Western League in 2026. The bid process is opening up shortly, and I expect that there'll be a number of markets who are really, really excited about the chance to bid on the event.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, we'll go to Adam Kierszenblatt. Go ahead, Adam.
First off, congratulations, Landon, on the exceptional status. Now that you have this exceptional status, your name is mentioned in the same breath as players like Aaron Ekblad, John Tavares, and Connor Bedard. So what is your kind of first thought when joining this elite group of players across the CHL?
Yeah, it's unreal. Those guys have done so much for the game of hockey, and they've been so many role models to so many young kids out there, and just to be associated with those names is something special, and I'm really honored and humbled to be along some of those names with those guys.
Adam, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, one follow-up here. Your dad, Mickey, he was a CHL Defenseman of the Year back in 2000. So how beneficial has it been to have somebody who's gone through this WHL journey, who's had success at the CHL level, not just be, your parent, but also a coach for you growing up?
No, yeah, he's been awesome for me and my brother. He's been such a good role model for us, and just looking up to him is something special to see what he's done. And, me and my brother used to joke that Like, it sucks having a dad that's, you know, gone through all this, because sometimes he would wake us up early in the morning and make us do hard work, but, you know, it all pays off, and thanks to him, and just, we're so grateful to have him, and I just want to thank him for everything.
Good answer.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, I think we've got one more from Andrew on Zoom. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, this is directed for Landon. So, assuming you get drafted number one, who are some of the players you could be excited to be playing with or against this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think just I'm really excited to meet all my new teammates wherever I go, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year with all of them. But I think, you know, just playing against your buddies, like a lot of guys on my team this year are going to be playing in the WHL next year, and it's going to be pretty cool to, you know, be lining up against them and to be battling it out against them. So pretty pumped for that.
Andrew, any follow-up?
You're native to Calgary, and so is Cale Makar. You know, what about his game do you try and translate directly to yours?
Yeah, just his skating ability and his hockey IQ, the way he can just, you know, run a PK, but he can also run a power play. He's just a great two-way defenseman that helps his teammates play better and makes everyone around him better. So just watching him just really inspires me to play like him.
Thanks, Andrew. I'll open it up one last time for questions in the room. Go ahead, Saul.
Just Landon, like, is it, like, you're probably gonna be trending on Twitter, like there's gonna be a lot that comes with this off the ice. Like, have you thought about that, or how do you feel like you'll approach that, given you are gonna be pretty famous, if not already, then just seeing that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try my best to ignore it. Just try to have fun and remember why I play hockey. I don't play it for the likes and clicks online. I play it to have fun with my friends and teammates and my brother. Just enjoying it with them is just going to be the biggest part for me, and just try to ignore all the online stuff is going to be huge.
This question's for Dan, but when you hear a player of Landon's quality is joining your league, what are the emotions that come to mind?
I think it feels like everyone involved with the league and the clubs have been doing something right. You know, there's, you know, it's a tough world right now, and there's been criticism about the way hockey has been run, and I think that this remains some validation that there are really good people making really good decisions, impacting young men in a way that is really positive. And we're honored, obviously, that they've chosen this path and that Landon will join us in the Western League. And our work's not done. I think that we want to continue to show people that we're in a position to develop young men, you know, on great paths, great careers, great educations, and to be great hockey players.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everybody for joining us here today. We'll now ask everyone here at the front table to step in front. We'll have a quick photo opportunity. We'll start with Dan and Landon and then move on from there. So thank you very much, folks.